What is up? Welcome back to the channel. Got another video today, another kind of 2025 challenge video. If you saw my Wii collection start video, this one is going to be similar to that in that I'm going to take the year 2025 and I'm going to try to complete this challenge, if you will, I guess. I don't know if it's really a challenge or just something fun for me to do with my collection. But what we're talking about today is John Cena. So if you're a wrestling fan or you have any type of fandom for John Cena, you probably know that 2025 is his retirement year from professional wrestling. So that means he will be officially transitioning over to movies, similar to The Rock. I'm sure he'll still do things with the WWE when it comes to random appearances, random, showing up to do things, what have you. But 2025 is going to be his last year as a performer when it comes to wrestling. He hasn't really been a full-time wrestler in a long time, but essentially this will be his last hurrah where he actually does perform and wrestle. After that, he'll probably just have guest appearances here and there, maybe WrestleMania, things like that. But anyways, so for the year of 2025, I wanted to do something a little fun to celebrate John Cena. He's not my favorite wrestler of all time, but I do totally agree that he is one of the greatest performers of all time when it comes to the wrestling business. In my opinion, you have Hulk Hogan, you have Stone Cold Steve Austin, and you have John Cena. Those are kind of your eras defined by who the big star was. And I think John Cena, carried himself well. He carried the WWE well. He did a lot of good things to really bring fans and a good fan base to the WWE. So out of respect for that and what he did for the business, I thought this would be a cool thing to do. Now, what is it we're doing, do you ask? I have compiled a list of every Mattel action figure in the 6-inch scale. So you're talking Ultimates, Elites, and Basics. Those three lines. I have compiled a list of every figure that Mattel has ever made. Now, there is some caveats to that. I didn't do the triple packs, 4-packs, multi-packs. I didn't do like the figures that came with rings or things like that. I just stuck to the singles and the 2-packs. And my goal is to spend the year of 2025 trying to complete that John Cena collection. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I doubt that it's going to happen. There is 224 figures. Yes, you heard that right. 224 figures of John Cena just in the 6-inch scale. We're not even talking about all the other scale or size of figures that there is out there. Just in the 6-inch scale. So like I said, Ultimates, Basics, Elites, just in those kind of 3 series, if you will, there's 224 figures. That is why I fully do not intend on finishing this by any means, on top of the fact that in 2025, I'm sure Mattel is going to pump out John Cena's to celebrate his retirement. So we're probably talking another 10 to 20 John Cena's that are going to come out in 2025 alone. So I hope I can get close. If I were to finish it, I'd be shocked. That would probably mean I found somewhere that had a ton of John Cena's and they were dirt cheap. But I am going to really focus on trying to complete this line. Now, there's a whole array of price points for these John Cena's. Mattel started in 2010, and they started pumping out John Cena's right away. So he's in Basic Series 1, he's in Elite Series 3, 2 pricier figures. Most of the Elites from those early years are really expensive. So I don't know if I'll get those. I intend to try and get all of them mint on card and then be able to open them myself personally. Sometimes on the channel, sometimes not. It just depends on what we're doing. But I will show you everything as I get them, and we'll go through the entire collection of John Cena Mattel figures. He does have figures from other companies. He was with the WWE when Jakks Pacific was making figures, so he has some figures from Jakks Pacific. I wanted to stick just to the Mattel figures, just because Mattel is what's coming out now. So we're going to get more new John Cena's from Mattel that we can add to this list and we can talk about. Plus, there's a ton of them. I mean, it would take me forever, or I knew it would take me a good chunk of the year, if not more than a year, to collect this entire set. So, with that being said, I do have some John Cena's already that I've purchased through the years to start this collection with. I also have purchased 2 since I started this challenge. I started it on January 1st, of course. I just didn't have time to make this video quite yet, but here we are making it. So, I've purchased 2 figures since I started doing this challenge. The first one is one of the more expensive ones that I did just talk about. This is Elite Series 3 John Cena. So this is the very first Elite figure that John Cena ever had. As you can see, he's on a ringside stand. They all have the figure of what they are, Series 3 Elite. So I can know and keep track. I also did make a list, so I've been checking them off as I get them, kind of thing. But this is the Series 3 Elite John Cena. Now, you can see the shirt is already yucky. I mean, I bought this loose, for instance, or just to state that. Mint on cards. To get one of these mint on card is like $150 plus. I did not pay anywhere near that. I got this loose. It is complete, so it has the hat, the dog tags, and the belt. All there. That came with the original figure. I bought this loose, so I didn't pay anywhere near that. I got what I thought was a good deal. I paid like $30 for this, so screaming deal in my opinion for an original Elite, and an Elite that according to the seller was only ever displayed, so shouldn't have anything wrong with it. And as you can tell, the shirt is already not in great condition. These early Elites, the cloth goods for sure were not great. So definitely not a good figure to get if you wanted to play with it or to just collect, to have like each different version of John Cena, if you will. This figure itself did get a re-release. I believe it was a Topps pick one. That is on the list. That will be coming sometime this year, hopefully. But it's the same shirt with the same hat and everything. So same look or whatever you want to call it for John Cena. So you can get a way better figure if you want to have that Hustle, Loyalty, Respect shirt in your collection. I just want to do every figure. That's another thing to throw out there. A lot of these 224s are exactly the same. Exactly the same. So they'll release it once, and then a couple series later, they'll release the exact same figure or very, very similar. You're going to see some slight differences in some of these figures. But that's what makes it fun. Doing the research, finding the differences, getting all the figures and comparing them. Like, that's what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to do for myself. That's what I wanted to do for the channel. So that's why I want to get every single figure so we can have the whole collection and look at it. But back to what we're doing here. So from one of his earliest figures with Mattel to probably the most recent, this is the basic, or they call them main events now, but this is the main event Netflix series John Cena. WWE is going to Netflix, if you did not know. So they've done a lot of things to promote that, one of which is make action figures. So there is I believe there's a basic single line and then a basic 2-pack line. I don't believe they have Netflix Elites as of now, but this John Cena is the basic single Netflix release. He is also in the 2-pack Netflix release. So I will be having to hunt that down as well. He is in the 2-pack with Austin Theory for when they feuded over the United States title, but this is the single pack one. Now, the cool thing about this is, well, first of all, the hat is molded on, whereas the Elite, you could take the hat on and off. This one, it is molded on his head, so the hat cannot be removed. The shirt, though, is like a rubbery thing. It almost looks like it could be taken off, but I don't know. It's so tight on there that I don't think you could. And even if you did, the sleeves are painted on, so I mean, it would look silly. But so very cool that they're starting to do that with the basics. I like that they're kind of using this to make it look more like he's got a shirt on. We'll talk about this figure in a sec, but here, like how it's just painted on, I mean, it just looks like he is literally has a shirt painted on him. You know how they do that with like the girls in bikinis where they paint, the bikinis on them? Like, that's kind of what basics used to look like, where like you could tell that like he was wearing something, but maybe he was not wearing something, you know what I mean? So like to get the updated with this kind of rubbery thing over top does look cool. But yeah, so that is the main event Netflix series John Cena. Like I said, from one of his earliest figures to one of his most recent, also one's elite, one's basic. The basics are basically called main events now, but I'm going to call them basics because that's what they are to me. But next up, we have the 2021 Elite Top Picks John Cena. This is from his kind of Doctor of Thugonomics gimmick, his rapper gimmick from back in the day. This is towards the end of it, I believe. So like you're looking at like 06-ish maybe, towards the end of his rapper gimmick. Shortly after this, he switches and becomes more kid-friendly. So like his finisher switches from the FU to the AA. Obviously FU, not super kid-friendly. The AA stands for attitude adjustment, so a little bit more kid-friendly. As you can see, he's not wearing the sports jersey anymore. He is wearing just a regular shirt. So that's why I said that's one of the ways I feel like you can tell it's toward the end of that run. But he does still have the chain with the lock on it, and he's got the pinky, his signature kind of pinky thing that he always did. Again, this is an elite. So he's got more articulation than the basics. The shirt comes all the way off, so he'll just be the bare chested in his wrestling gear. The hat does come off as well in this one. So that's kind of the difference between the elites, where you get some of the more accessories and things like that. But that is the 2021 top picks right there. Then the next one, we're still in that rapper gimmick. This is a little bit earlier in the rapper gimmick. Cobweb there. But this is the Decade of Domination Series 1 John Cena. Now, Mattel's had the license since 2010. So in 2020, they did a Decade of Domination set, celebrating the 10 years of having the WWE license. And they did it all for guys that were there the entire time. John Cena being one of them that was with the WWE in 2010 and had a figure in 2010. So then he got another one in 2020. And this one is representing his, like I said, that rapper thug type gimmick. He's got the Word Life Nux, which is really cool. He's got the Larry Bird jersey, which is not branded in any way because they didn't get the rights for the Celtics stuff. But, I mean, it's Larry Bird. And then he's got the bucket hat. The bucket hat does come off right there. So there's that. And then he still does have the chain with the lock around it. The rapper gimmick is my favorite John Cena gimmick. I thought it was hilarious. At the time, too, in like the early 2000s, I was still a pretty young kid. So to hear him do some of those raps, especially against the Big Show, my favorite one that I remember to this day is when he's doing, I mean, the rap battle against the Big Show is super popular, but the one that I'm thinking of specifically, I can't remember I want to say it was from WrestleMania 20 when they wrestled for the United States title, but he says, "I'm a giant whistle, so go ahead and blow me." And like, as a kid, I thought that was hilarious, and like, just a dorky little kid, thinking that was the funniest thing ever, but like, it just stuck with me this whole time. So things like that I thought were hilarious from John Cena, which is another reason why I wanted to do this, because like I love that line, and like I thought it was so funny as a little kid. But anyways, so the next one is from the WWE Legends Elite Series. So Target has a exclusive line of Legends that they do. Now, most of them are a lot older than John Cena, so you're looking at like Hulk Hogan's and things like that. I mean, there's a whole bunch that they've done, but they're usually like early 90s, late 80s, maybe even late 90s. This is one of the newest or most modern figures that they did in that line. But this is John Cena. This is in his gimmick from before, when he was in Ohio Valley Wrestling. So before they had, not Netflix, before they had NXT for their developmental, they had Ohio Valley Wrestling, where a lot of these guys from the early 2000s went and trained and wrestled. I believe his name was Prototype in Ohio Valley Wrestling, so that is what this is kind of supposed to represent. He also did wear this kind of gear when he first started in the WWE. He wore the short trunks and the boots and everything before he switched over to the jeans and tennis shoes. I like to think of this as his Ohio Valley Wrestling stuff, but it could be early WWE. Like I said, he didn't start the rapper gimmick until he was already in WWE for a little bit, because they didn't know he had that ability to rap. So when they found that out is when they switched up his character and his gimmick and everything, and he went from that kind of like clean cut pretty boy looking wrestler to that Doctor of Thugonomics thug type of wrestler. But yeah, so that's the Legends Series 10 John Cena Elite. Now we're going to wrap this up with a couple of basics. I got about 4 basics left. So this is Basic Series 130. I kind of showed this already, but this is back when they still did the painted on shirts like I talked about. So the champ is here. He's got the Our Time Is Now on the back. Khaki shorts with the black shoes, but this is where it's like I said, the basics are super basic. So they only have like shoulder and elbow articulation, and then they have a little bit of leg articulation. The basics now have gotten a lot better. So like that Netflix one I opened has a lot more articulation and is a lot nicer of a figure. But some of these more early Mattels, like I said, this is Basic Series 130, so not that long ago. Like you're talking like 2022-ish or 23 maybe, but yeah, there's your plain white shirt, the belt around it, got the blue wristbands on. So the basics, there's not a ton to talk about with the basics. The one thing I do really like about the basics with John Cena is there's been so many, which is good because he's worn so many shirts. So like if you look, you just had the white one where he has the belt on it and everything, and then boom, there's another one. This is Basic Series 100, so kind of a historic set. It had a lot of historic guys in it, John Cena being one of them. But again, there's another one of his t-shirts. Basically, every t-shirt he's ever worn is represented in action figure form. This is the cool one where it's like an 8-bit looking, like you're playing like one of the old NES classic type of games of him. But it's, like I said, it's not the actual game. It's of him with a wrestler underneath him. And it says, "You can't see me," and everything on the figure there. But again, nothing special about the basics. Like I said, the cool thing for me is that you have all of his shirts represented. Like he had so many cool shirts, this one especially, and it's really cool to see those all represented. Then the next one we have is the year 2022 basic Top Picks figure. The shirt says, "You Can't Stop Me." This figure has also been re-released, I think at least 3 times or 4 times maybe. This is the Top Picks version. I'm pretty sure they had a regular version of this in the basic series. And then there's also like, this is the 22. I think the 2021 basic Top Picks is the same exact figure. So they did the same figure 2 years in a row for the Top Picks line. Top Picks, to explain that, they have Top Picks for basics and elites. It's basically like, I don't know how Mattel figures out who's in the Top Picks line, but it's like the most popular guys at the time. It might be their best-selling figures at the time. I'm not really sure how they decide who goes in it, because like Rey Mysterio is in like every friggin' Top Picks set. It's absurd how many Top Picks figures Rey Mysterio has. And that's why I think it's like, it's got to be top selling or most selling, or like the ones that they do a poll and like they're the ones kids want the most. I'm not really sure how they get that data or how they decide who's going to be in the Top Picks. But John Cena's had quite a few Top Picks, as he should, being one of the most popular guys. Rey Mysterio's had a ton. Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins get them a lot, but that's what the Top Picks line is. It's just a line. They do a lot of re-releases, so there's a lot of times that Top Picks are either the same exact figure that you already had, or it's like just slightly different. So like they could do something where his wrist guards were a different color, or something to that effect, where they do that with Top Picks. But that's just a quick kind of info on the Top Picks part. The last one is kind of cool and special to me. It's another basic figure, but this is the John Cena, the Cena Nuff figure. This was exclusive with the Cena Nuff 2K18, WWE 2K18, the Cena Nuff version of the game. So that was like an exclusive or a collector's edition version of 2K18, and this John Cena came in that set. So I was super excited to get this. This was a big reason. This figure was a big reason I bought that version of the game when I wanted to get 2K18. So very excited that I got this figure. relatively pricey one, especially for a basic, to have gotten now. So to already have this one checked off the list is good. Like I said, it's not crazy expensive, but it is a little more expensive considering it's only a basic. This is also one of the first times this is like I said, this is from 2K18, so around, late 2017, 2018 is when the figure came out. And they did that rubbery shirt for the basic already. So, you can tell that they had a little more effort into this figure compared to the other basics of the time. So that's really cool to see. And it's weird that like they could do this then and just now in like 2024, beginning of 2025 is when you're starting to see it on a lot more basics. But yeah, that is the John Cena collection that I have to start with. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're looking at 9 figures to start with. So we have 235. We have 215 figures left. Math is definitely not my strong suit there. But 215 figures left to complete my version of the Mattel John Cena collection. And that's just from my research so far. I could have missed some. And hopefully throughout the year we find that I did. Because that's part of the fun of this, is doing the research, seeing what's missing, seeing what's out there. Did they make an obscure, really rare one? Honestly, there's one that I thought of just doing this video. That's not really a figure that came out, but when the Mountain Dew watermelon or Major Watermelon, whatever that is, when that came out, he was in the commercial, and they did that thing where you guessed how many like cans were in it, or you guessed something, and whoever got it or whatever got prizes. I don't remember the full commercial thing with it, but one of the prizes you got was a John Cena figure with a Major Melon like button-up shirt on. So it wasn't really a new figure. It was they just took a Mattel figure that you could buy at the store and put their own shirt on it and then gave that away as a prize. So it wasn't like a Mattel release, but I would love to have that in this collection. So that's another one that I just thought of that's not on this list. But that was just a side off the top of my head. Obviously, we'll have more throughout 2025. There's already more that have been announced or they've shown like images of that we haven't gotten yet. So there's definitely more figures that will be coming of John Cena. I think it'll be a really fun thing to do. And this plus the Wii thing will kind of give me 2 different areas to play in, so I don't get, kind of burnt out on if I'm just focusing on Wii. Like I might get burnt out on that. Or if I'm just focusing on this, I might get burnt out on it. So I think this will be a good yin and yang, 2 good kind of challenges to do for 2025. And I'm excited to see what we can do with this collection. I do have one more that I've ordered that's on its way from Edward Bay. And we will go from there with this collection. I'll probably do updates maybe every 5 or 6 figures that I add to the collection. Just to keep you guys updated, and I don't want to do a video that's like 2 minutes long of just one figure. So like I said, I'll probably wait till I get about 5 or 6 new John Cenas. Same with the Wii, 5 or 6 new Wii games, and then we'll update it. But yeah, other than that, I'm gonna head on out of here. Hopefully you guys stick with me through this John Cena challenge, and I will see you in the next one.